Okay, we're gonna try another one of these. So here we are again at Blood and Steel. Let's start with the basic lineup. First swords have a somewhat traditional echelon. Bang, bang, and then let me see the middle here. There's a little difference here in that the left side is actually one straight echelon the whole way. Um, so it's almost like the left side needs to push a little deeper, or the middle needs to hold back a little more. I would say they need to push a little deeper because that's essentially just one line, and it's not going to let them really get any room to work. Um, so yeah, what we see on the executioner side is a variety of tactics. So here we have sort of a triad idea, which is Jay is sitting behind Lane and Gary, so he's going to be able to throw over their heads using that heavy pull, while Gary needs to shut people down, and Lane sort of is a medium distance damage dealer, so anyone who tries to rush in on Jay has to go through Lane, while Gary holds people and just lets him throw. So that's going to basically give Jay free shots, and we're going to see that do a lot of damage on these two guys right here later on. What we have in the middle, sort of a kind of a three grouping here, with Ringo out in front here, kind of acting like a bait. You can see Andrew's doing kind of the same thing. And two guys in the back who are going to be the sort of catch men. So if anyone gets through, that's their job to pick them up, or they're just going to wait, and if an angle opens up, they're going to come in and drop some heavy shots with those axes. On the left, we kind of have two lines. It's not really an echelon. As you can see, they're kind of flat, but you kind of have Calderon, Al, and a little bit of Mangler in one line, and then Cat sitting farther back, waiting to, again, kind of be more of a free safety. So let's play this and see how it goes. The first swords give up a little bit way too much distance, and you can see they're already failing to keep their echelon here. These two guys have started to get way more flat than this man, so that angle doesn't stay, and that's going to be a huge problem as it goes on. Andrew, a little too far out to do anything, but to make a real run, but stuck too far back to actually deal any damage, to actually make a real threat. So first swords wait, and if we notice at this point, the executioners have basically made a straight line. So they've given up entirely on the echelon concept. And let's head back and take a look at what's happening on this action. So on the left side, we have the echelon in good format, but as Al starts to lay damage into his man right here, the secondary man comes up and basically lays them flat. Right? So here we go. Boom, there he is. You have these two guys flat, and the third man, I believe that's Curtis, doesn't step up to help. So now we essentially have a 2-on-2 here. It's kind of hard to tell who's in worse position. I'd give it slightly to the first swords in worse position, because Cat sitting back here can easily step in and help if he needs to, as well as Mangler, versus the only one who can really get in from the first swords is Morgan. Damian has to go through a much larger territory. He's going to end up getting picked up if he tries to do that. So yeah, so it kind of looks like a worse situation for the first swords, but really the real problem is just that they've abandoned their echelon, which was the play they were going with, and now they're in basically a man-to-man fight, which is exactly what the executioners were looking for, because they think they stack up better man-to-man. So as we play a little bit, we can see Al's going to pull his fighter down right here. He's down, and now this is going to turn into a double takedown in a second, and Curtis is going to be left all alone with three executioners looking to take his ass out. So let's keep watching the left, and then we'll take a look at what happens on the right. So, as we can see, that one first sword who's stuck in just keeps getting hammered. He has no support. And then Curtis tries to get in and help him, but he doesn't really have an angle. And you'll notice these two guys, Morgan and Damian, can't really get in because of the threat here. They could try, and they probably should try to make a move because their guys are just going down one after another. But if they do take that step in, they're basically giving their back up to a free shot. And that's a terrible position to be in. So we'll see that they don't make that move, and it kind of goes poorly for them. Note, Ringo keeps stepping in, cutting that angle off, and now Calderon is down. So we have 4 executioners over here in this bigger circle, 2 directly on Curtis. So 4 executioners on 1, and maybe 2 first swords able to effectively work in this fight. We keep fighting. Curtis loses his weapon, tries to get in, and now it basically is going to be the first sword's getting stuck in the corner as these 3 executioners right here walk through and sort of lay smack down. You're going to see Ringo follow Curtis on this run where they come deep into the corner over here, and that's going to end up with 2 or maybe 4 fighters stacked in that corner, while the rest of the executioners are going to chase the last 2 first swords, Damian and Morgan, into this corner. So as we see, they disappear. You can kind of catch Ringo going into the corner. Here's Curtis, followed Ringo, and then Kraken. And now we have 2-on-1 in this corner. But what that has left is 3 executioners on 2 executioners out here. Basically another bad setup, and we eventually would see that go take down. But let's go back to what is happening on the right, as that's going to be really, I went the wrong way. Really the other thing that ends this fight. So, right here, you can see Gary starts to catch some blows from these two first swords, but it doesn't actually end up doing much, as he's protected by his axe from the axemen by the actual first sword he's fighting, and they both have to contend with Jay laying heavy shots. There's one, there's another. As they step in, they back up, and we're going to see, boom, yet another heavy shot. The last man here can't really get into the fight because he's a threat from lane. So it basically becomes another 2-on-2, only Jay is completely safe. So he can land shots into this guy or this guy at will. And they're going to hit with way more power due to the reach and weight of that polearm compared to that little axe. So even though Gary's taking some damage, it's not going to be that bad. So as it breaks down, eventually this first sword gets free. But as he does, he quickly gets picked up, and now you have another 2-on-1. If this last third first sword were able to push in, it could have possibly kept laying off of him, and maybe this would have stagnated. However, those 2 executioners in the middle are kind of messing that up. Andrew can't come in because he's at threat from either Pete, Brandon, or Kat. Kat sleeping there is keeping Andrew at bay. We're going to see Andrew eventually has to commit to this corner. Boom. That's going to leave Brandon free to come in and take out this other first sword, who has decided he wants to start working on Gary. There's a 2-on-1 here for the executioners. So he wants to make a 2-on-1 here for the first swords and hope that he can take him out as fast. But unfortunately, doesn't do his math right. Brandon comes in. Boom, and he's going to hit him right in the back. I believe that was actually a neck shot, which is illegal, so probably should have been stood back up, but I don't believe the refs caught it at the time. Bam, there he goes down. And you can see this 2-on-1 end up with another one down. So now we have 4 first swords down, only 1 executioner down. And basically, from this point on, it just becomes a numbers game. There's not really much going on for the rest of this video, as this injury that happened here stops the fight for a little while. So I'm going to sign off, and that's probably all I'm going to do for today. Alright, let me know what you think of these. If you want more, if I need to do anything besides up the volume and shit, yeah. Peace.